powering the future of blockchain computing, HIVE Blockchain Technologies, the first crypto mining company launched in September of 2017. Hi, I'm Frank Holmes, Executive Chairman, HIVE Blockchain Technologies, and I've been involved with the launch, the creation of HIVE back in 2017, and I've seen an incredible roller coaster ride, both surging and crashing, and then the reborn, which I'm going to walk you through what's driving our success. So before I jump into that, I want to talk about, I'm so often asked this question, what is the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum? And let me explain to you from this 1-minute video.
You know, I'm asked, what is the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum? Well, it's a great question because the two are the most popular crypto words. Well, Bitcoin is the entrance into the crypto world. It was the first initiative of applying blockchain technology. It's the most popular and valuable digital token or cryptocurrency. It's also known as digital gold. Think of it as a crypto reserve currency. Ethereum is the world's computing platform. It's a blockchain platform that has smart contracts that can be built on top of Ether cryptocurrency, powering the Ethereum network. Which should be worth more, Bitcoin or Ether? Well, Bitcoin is essentially digital money. Bitcoins are the future of how payments should be made on the blockchain. Ethereum is a new infrastructure that can do anything, such as decentralized social media platform or insurance or the Internet of Things. Bitcoin signaled the emergence of a radically new form of digital money that operates outside of the control of any government or corporation. Ethereum complements Bitcoin as a way to use blockchain technology to power decentralized financial applications. Both coins surged in 2020. Bitcoin ended up the year a massive 304%, while Ethereum was up 475%. It was up even more.
So I hope that helps you understand the difference, because HIVE Blockchain is the only crypto mining company that mines both Ethereum and Bitcoin. And that strategy of mining Ethereum, you're going to discover, has been extremely rewarding to the shareholders. But what's happened to this sort of ecosystem of shareholders that we have, from retail to institutional? Well, what we found now recently in the past year in particular has Google searches, it shows up as sentiment, and there's lots of quant funds that use for sentiment. And as you have seen people looking up crypto prices, that's usually pretty predictive that crypto prices will rise. If people all of a sudden get bored and stop looking up the price, then historically, then prices fall. So we've been using this as an interesting tool for you to understand that the Google searches for investing in crypto has been hitting an all-time high. Now, what I think is most fascinating is last year is 2020, that all the information was sort of focused on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's listed on the CME since December of 2017, when it hit $19,000. And last year it was up 300%. Ethereum, interesting enough, didn't get much publicity. It was up 475%. But interesting enough, this year in 2021, in February the 8th, it became also a futures contract listed on the CME like Bitcoin, and that has been growing rapidly. And we're seeing lots of hedge funds use that as a proxy to go in rather than buying new Ethereum coins on an exchange, on a crypto exchange. They're buying the futures market to get representation. Now, let me tell you about this ride. We had a phenomenal ride of launching 2017. In 3 tranches, we raised $200 million. Institutions like Fidelity gave us $100 million. We deployed always green energy. We're focused originally in Iceland, mining Ethereum. Then we went to Sweden with 20 megawatt facility and became the biggest industrial scale miner of Ethereum in the world. And then we went into Bitcoin mining. Well, what happened in 2018 was called the winter. And we saw during that winter, lots of investigations, lots of negative news, especially from JP Morgans of the world. And crypto prices fell from 19,000 Bitcoin down to under 3,000, Ethereum from 1,400 down to under $100. And then we saw when JP Morgan announced that they are getting into the crypto space with a stable coin, which is very important because it uses Ethereum as its backbone of that infrastructure, because as you know, Ethereum is a smart contract. So all these stable coins being announced by banks are going to use the Ethereum protocol, which is very bullish for demand for Ethereum. And so we saw the bottom take place, and Ethereum and prices rallied from under 100 to over 300, then fell back down, and it sort of went sideways. Same thing with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin also had a big rally that summer when Facebook announced their Libra coin, and it surged to 14,000. Then it quickly fell back to 7,000 because the G20 finance ministers, central bankers became very worried about Facebook basically become the central bank of the world with a decentralized mechanism. So they turned around and pushed it back, and Libra is now coming with a more sort of cooperative and collaborative approach with all these central banks. But really what took place last year in 2020 was the halving of Bitcoin. And it's important for you to recognize when Bitcoin was launched over a decade ago, it was basically you were receiving a reward every 10 minutes that you validated a transaction. Then you received 50 new Bitcoins. And each 4 years it halved. So it went from 50 coins down to 25 coins. Then it went to 12.5 coins. And now it's 6.25 coins. So every 10 minutes, you can have if you can have fast technology, you get a chance to validate the transaction, you receive new Bitcoins. So what's happened in this sort of journey is that we've seen a supply halved. And I've said this one on gold. If the supply of gold had halved from 100 million ounces produced a year to 50 million, gold would be at 10,000. So what we saw last year was all of a sudden Bitcoin supply halved, and it only took about 6 months that it woke up and all that additional supply was being absorbed by the new addresses. Very important concept is called Metcalfe's law. And what this visual is showing you is that we hit these new wallets that hit 33 million new people trusting the ecosystem. Very important concept, because as you get more and more people trusting, and that's what the fiat currency is all about. Do you trust the government, their policies, their government monetary and fiscal policies, basically the support for trust. And that's what's behind paper money. But they print unlimited, whereas Bitcoin is basically limited to 21 million coins. And now we're seeing more and more people believe it, then Metcalfe's law kicks in. And I've been asked so often again, what is Metcalfe's law? And now I want to explain to you.
In simple terms, Metcalfe's law says that a network's value increases geometrically with the number of users in the network. Before we get started, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. The concept was originally applied to communications networks such as telephones and fax machines and mobile phones, but today it can be applied to a number of other networks such as social media and cryptocurrencies. To illustrate, let's look at Bitcoin. We'll use the number of active addresses as a proxy for the size of Bitcoin network. And as you can see, how the crypto's prices has been driven by the growing number of people who are buying it and using it. Many places you can buy fractions of Bitcoin, and therefore more and more people can participate in buying these fractions. I should point out that the number of Bitcoin addresses doubled in 2020 compared to the previous year. Consequently, its price jumped more than 300% during the year. Ethereum has a similar trajectory. Ether, the fuel for the network, touched a record price of over 2,000 in February 2021 as the number of active addresses on the Ethereum network hit a new high. The implications to all of this is that the prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum may continue to appreciate as the two cryptos gain wider adoptions. So far this year, we've seen large institutional investors and companies, including Tesla and Square, take positions in Bitcoin. Microsoft, IBM, and others have reportedly bought Ether. Most important last year is the influence of PayPal, allowing people to buy Bitcoin and then to sell consumer goods and services. I expect this activity to be a huge tailwind for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the crypto ecosystem in general.
Very important, as you see, that we've gone to 33 million believers globally with these 10,000 nodes around the world of a decentralized mechanism that everyone knows is going to cap at 21 million coins, and you get enough believers, then it has value. It becomes valuable. This has happened many times where you can have an intangible asset class that becomes tangible because you have belief. So I think it's important for people to recognize that you are in the decentralized finance world, and that's growing. And this DeFi world, as is known, is also very important for the Ethereum market. So we see stable coins use, we're seeing DeFi, and we're seeing now the non-fungible assets all of a sudden coming out. They're all using the backbone of Ethereum, which makes Ethereum a very important, unique, stable, cryptocurrency. So what happened also in 2020 was the adoption by PayPal, allowing users to sell, buy, and hold cryptocurrencies. You can't buy stocks with PayPal. You can't trade a stock, but you can basically buy a Bitcoin and then sell it, and then you can use it to turn around and buy goods at Amazon. So this adoption process really accelerated the number of wallets. And then we saw the competition heat up with Visa allowing partners to settle via transactions with crypto. Another important factor that basically caters to the exponential growth in pricing with Metcalfe's law. So I hope you understand that how Metcalfe's law functions, the adoption of Bitcoin and the adoption of Ethereum, the smart contract, is growing rapidly. But then what drives the stock prices like HIVE? So the daily price action of Ethereum and Bitcoin drive most of the daily information that shows up in the stock price. But the other part which gave us the great performance last year was our current hashing power. And our current hashing power was the highest. And with Ethereum, the amount of Ethereum we're producing was equivalent to 1 exahash, they call for Bitcoin. So what happened, as you can see, is that we're the most profitable company in 2020, crypto mining company. Now what's important is the future and how many new machines are you buying and how many new facilities for megawatts of production are you going to be able to get electricity. Green electricity is only for us, and be able to get it inexpensively to be able to mine. So the market is paying for future growth. Now, what happened uniquely with us is to try to articulate this and better for you to understand. The growth in DeFi increased the transaction fees. In fact, you earn more on transaction fees than you do validating an Ethereum contract. You basically get 2.3 for validating a transaction versus all of a sudden validating a brand new Ethereum, you're going to get 2 Ethereum. So the math is really interesting, is that as DeFi exploded last year, we can see here in red is the revenue growth exploded for us in the summer months. And you can see in October, November, December, it slowed down. And then this year, in the year of 2021, in the first quarter, it's been a huge win for HIVE Blockchain Technology. Our transaction fees have been very, very important to us. So this is another way of looking at the significance that in the summer, we produced 32,000 coins. A lot came from validating these transactions. And then those transactions, that business slowed down in the fourth quarter of 2020, and our production slowed down, but then they picked up in the last quarter. So when we look at crypto, we look at HIVE Blockchain Technology, it's so important to respect the DNA of volatility. And what shocks a lot of people is gold. Gold, as you can see in this visual, is at the very bottom. It's the least volatile. And what's most volatile is Tesla. On any one-day basis, Tesla is equal to Ethereum. That is, they can go up or down 6% is the normal DNA volatility. Bitcoin is 4%, but over 10 trading days, Tesla wins. So Tesla, now part of the S&P 500, is more volatile. And that's what happens when you have an adoption of a new industry, the adoption of the electric cars, just like the adoption of decentralized financing and using Ethereum. Is just a brand new idea, more people coming in to adopt to it, you're getting greater volatility. But I believe that as we go through 100 million people around the world, then the volatility will probably drop. But meet HIVE Blockchain Technologies, the first publicly listed infrastructure company, September 2017. It's providing shareholders with exposure to digital mining and a portfolio of crypto coins because we always own Bitcoin and Ethereum on our balance sheet. And that was part of our original vision in launching this company. And we had many gold investors use HIVE as a proxy. They were reluctant to go to a crypto exchange with all the negative narrative in the media about hackers. So HIVE Blockchain became the way to, as a proxy for you to participate. And now we trade 100% correlation daily with the Ethereum and Bitcoin price action. In fact, even by the hour. So last year was a phenomenal year, as we saw earlier, that Bitcoin was up approximately 300%, Ethereum was up 475, but HIVE was up 2,400%. And why is that? Because of the huge torque we had in growth in revenue and the growth in cash flow, which we showed up in our financials. There's another way of looking at the growth. When you look at the Bloomberg Galaxy Crypto Index, which is up 277, we outperform NASDAQ, we outperform the S&P Composite TSX Ventures Index, and we outperform the Bloomberg Galaxy Crypto Index. So HIVE has clearly become a proxy for both crypto mining investors and those that are gold investors. We know globally that we have 100,000 shareholders in 80 countries. So also we found that HIVE ranks higher than competitors. We're ranked number 4 as the best 50 OTC QX stocks listed. We were ahead of Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, which is ranked 29, and HUD 8 Mining was number 11. We were number 4 most liquid stock trading in the US on the over-the-counter market. But in Canada, we traded an astounding 1.7 billion shares. So clearly very liquid. It's another visual representation of showing you that in 2019, we traded over 500 million shares, and then we exploded in trading around the world, over 2.4 billion shares. Why is that? Keep coming back to digital currency mining income, 13.7 million, up 174% year over year. Gross mining margins, 10.6 million, up from 5.7 million. Net income, 5 cents a share, up from a penny. Working capital is 23 million. And now at the end of March, we've made representations that our Ethereum coin holdings now have exploded in this past quarter, and our value is over $60 million of working capital, and cash is also pushing another close to 36 million. So we have $100 million of liquidity. Bitcoin mining by HIVE, as you can see, in the first quarter of last year until we made the acquisition in Quebec, Canada, we were not producing any Bitcoin mining, and then we put on 153 coins. Then it dropped because of the halving, and then we bought more machines and we expanded our footprint. So now we're producing more Bitcoins. Now looking for future growth, Bitcoin mining capacity, we're building it up. As you can see, we're ranked here number 4. I think we're pushing up to, when you include Ethereum, we'd be equivalent to be ranked number 3 for fastest growth. But I think on a per share basis, we will have the greatest growth because companies like Mara have gone from less than 10 million to over 80 million shares outstanding. Riot's gone from 25 million over 75 million, and HIVE has barely gone up 15% number of shares outstanding over the past year. So what's a big risk for this industry? It's getting equipment on a timely basis, and that's been, Bitmain is the biggest producer of it. There's been a dispute with management and controlling shareholders. I believe that's being resolved, which is great for the industry. But we know from last year, several of our Bitmain equipment was delayed in disappointment in getting to us. So that's one reason why we diversified in our providers for other equipment so that we can mine Bitcoin. We've had incredible representation, especially Motley Fools, where they said BlackBerry or HIVE stock, why HIVE is a better buy. And I think that for investors, what we've seen is Blondies is a long-term HIVE shareholder. He's a brilliant energy analyst out of Germany, Lucas Schubert, and he's done a great approach of explaining every day the basket of all the crypto mining stocks. And it's another visual, and he shows you that based on operating margins today and what the potential in the future is, who's the most profitable. Currently, it is HIVE. In the future, it looks like Mara will be bringing on and Riot more machines. But stay tuned to our vision, because right now, if we were at full production, our revenue would be over 300 million, up from 100 million, and we'd be having cash flow well over 200 million. But that's a pro forma, that's forward-looking, and it's always got risk associated with it. But how much power does it take to create a Bitcoin? It's different, and there's lots of negative news out there on Bitcoin mining. But I can share with you that most of the real bad coal energy is coming out of China and Kazakhstan. So the Chinese are the dominant players in mining in Inner Mongolia. We at HIVE are only green energy and only inexpensive energy. We've been very focused on having a very strong ESG footprint, low cost energy, low temperatures, fast internet connections. And our software is state of the art, where we can basically use 20 megawatts of energy go down to 1 megawatt during peak periods in the morning and late in the evening in Sweden. So there's no big demand from the local areas as their economy is booming. And it's worked out wonderfully. We're exploring how we can fast track the development of our own greenhouses, so we can take those 10,000 hair dryers I like to use as an example and use that heat to recycle in a greenhouse in northern Sweden, which is only a short distance from the Arctic Circle, where you wouldn't have to have food shipped up, particular produce, carrots and tomatoes and lettuce from Spain and from Italy. We'd be able to grow it in northern Sweden with our own greenhouse. So that's how we're looking at. We're fossil fuel free. We'll also use solar energy, and we'll use recyclable wind energy. But we like right now geothermal in Iceland and hydroelectricity in Quebec, Canada, in New Brunswick, Canada, and also in northern Sweden. This is an image of showing where we are close to the Arctic Circle. And this is another visual that who's up there in this area is Facebook. And so is Google, with massive facilities because of the inexpensive electricity, which is in surplus in northern Sweden. This is Boden. As you can see, it's pretty in the summer. In the winter, it's gorgeous. HIVE Blockchain, please, I recommend you go to our website and subscribe to our letters, and go to YouTube and type in HIVE Blockchain and become a subscriber and see some of the great content we provided. Very short, high impact information to explain to you the industry and how we're trying to explain definitions and where we are positioned in this crypto industry. Thank you for listening to me, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully you find this enjoyable and useful and become a shareholder of HIVE Blockchain. Thank you.